Hey guys, this is Tyler from Podcast Now. This is the Quorra Show. We have a couple things to talk about today. The biggest one is I think we were right about the potential monster deals, at least the big picture. And it's kind of confirmed in a way through different, just the phrases in the Electroneum, the PR article that I'm going to show you. I'm going to put a link in the description. And it says the expansion into Brazil that we learned about on Friday. The expansion unlocks new opportunities to partner with other major corporations, retailers, and business. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you, maybe 3, I'm going to tell you why that is an important line and how that connects to what we talked about just like 4 or 5 weeks ago with that Monster Deal big picture video. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about, I want to let you guys know, if you have any questions that you want to ask Electroneum, could be about the cloud miner, could be about GigFair, whatever you want, user numbers, it doesn't matter. Any question you want to ask, write it in the comment section below. We will add it. We already have around 17 questions that we have posted on Reddit. I'll show it to you right now. You can see there's quite a few here. There's a couple that are really good. Will GigFair have a reward system to register like the cloud miner does? Is GigFair a product by Electroneum, or is it a separate business under Electroneum? That's an important one because I think there's a miscommunication going on about that. Another one, this one's mine. On April 4th, we were told on ETN TV by an ETN team member that the M1 would soon be available in many countries, such as France, Germany, Spain, and Italy. And they were working on getting into South Africa. They were just waiting for approval. They also said that there would be a public announcement when the device was made available in these countries. It's been 22 plus weeks and still nothing. What is the status of the M1 in those countries? That's a pretty good question. Another really good one. Why is there rarely any mention on ETN's Twitter or social media of the M1? I have no answer for that. So that's a good question. Hopefully they answer at least some of them. But again, if you have any questions of your own, leave it in the comment section below and I will absolutely, gladly add them. So that's that. Before we get into the monster deal potential, the opportunities with other major corporations, that stuff, the meaty part of this video, I do want to say that tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of Quorra merch. So I want to say thank you, and I want to really directly say thank you to you. If you're a customer, if you paid in PayPal, it doesn't matter, ETN, whatever you paid in, wherever you live. I mean, I've had orders from all over the world, which is, when I get the orders in and I see where it's from, it's just like, wow. It's insane. Hundreds of orders, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of orders. I get pictures quite often, and it's awesome to see you guys, wearing your Electroneum gear proudly, showing it off for everybody to see. That's why we did this. That's why we started it. It's a different way to show off Electroneum. It's a different way to advertise, and it's fun too. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and on to another year of QuorraMerch.com and many more. And don't forget, Quorra, the true Quorra Market. That's coming, and it's coming pretty soon, a couple more weeks. And I think it's going to be a game changer. So stay tuned for that. So now back to that article. So it says that we have Vivo, Claro, TIM, and Oi. And it goes on to say that this is the first time ETN users can top up their mobile phones with airtime and data with mobile network operators that cover 95% of the service in a country. Now that is a big deal. It's exciting to offer this service to our fastest growing community. This was said by Richard Els. That is really impressive to be covering 95% of Brazil. Very, very cool. But what I want you guys to understand, it's not any of these carriers, not yet, none of these carriers are directly accepting Electroneum. It's that third-party thing. So the ETN goes to the third party, the cash goes from the third party to the carrier. That's how this is operating. But this is how, as you can see, we just added, right, indirectly, indirect payments. We just added 3 mobile carriers in one day. Imagine, and that's all in Brazil. So when Rigidel says that we will be in 20 countries or around 20 countries by the end of the year, that I guess doesn't necessarily mean 1 carrier each. It could be 3, 2 or 3 or 5 carriers in each country. Eventually, you absolutely will have these carriers saying, well, we enjoy the influx in customers and making more money. Why don't we just make a deal and work with you directly? That's going to happen. Now, again, I think that all of the names that we're getting, or not all, I shouldn't say all. I think the majority of the names, I think some of them will be added, just like I said last in the Monster Deal video. Something like Quorra, I think is a signed agreement. They're waiting on the lawyers, but because they can do this, they could essentially do it now. Then once that time comes, then they can say, and now we do direct payments. But I do think the majority of, and this is a stack of paper, I do think the majority of these signed agreements that are there and ready, because remember there's around 15, but we're waiting on the lawyers. I think the majority of them are names that we will get probably in 2019 and early of 2020. But I do think I do think that we will have mobile carriers that are not signed agreements yet that we do the indirect ETN payments with. Let's say, for example, maybe Oi is one of them. Maybe they're not a signed agreement, but, and I'm just saying them because those were the ones that I saw as of March. They lost, I forgot how much money. So there's somebody who's going to be looking at, well, you know what, we did all of a sudden get an influx in customers or an influx in payments, money, we're making more money, and it could be because of these Electroneum people. Maybe we should just accept Electroneum directly. How do we do that? Well, you're going to have to do a signed agreement. Well, that's what we got to do, so then they become another signed agreement. I think that's how a lot of this is going to go. There's going to be some that already are in line, and there's going to be some who aren't necessarily in line, but we start doing the indirect stuff, and they may, just approve it, or maybe they just don't even know about it. But then they're still going to be getting the money, and they're going to say, you know what? They're doing it, we're seeing the results here, maybe we'll just do it too. And then they get in line. I think that's what we're going to see, which is probably better than how I assumed it was going to be before, where it was just going to be direct payments, which apparently was going to take forever. That's how it looks. For us to add 3 more carriers in one day is insane, but that's the power, that's the benefit of using this third party. So I literally do think that over the next few weeks, more and more frequently, we'll be getting carrier name drops in different countries all over. And I do think that at one point it could almost get to be where there's so many where they have to announce one every single week, or a couple every single week leading to the end of the year. It's totally possible, and I think it's going to happen. Now, let me find the part right here. Okay, so why the top 4 mobile top-ups? Currently, there are 198 million, or 198, I don't know why I said it that way. Currently, there are 198 million smartphone users, smartphones in use in Brazil. By partnering with a third-party mobile phone, airtime, and data provider, we stand to expand its user base exponentially by offering top-ups on Claro, Vivo, Oi, and TIM. Our objective, when planning our strategy in the largest economy in Latin America, was to take Electroneum's mobile app to as many people as possible. Mobile top-ups is just the first step to creating an ecosystem where ETN is used every day to make international payments, purchase everyday items with merchants and retailers, and pay for services across the board. That's essentially similar to what I was kind of saying. By doing this stuff, it kind of leads into the next. It starts expanding, because you're going to have these different businesses say, they're doing it and it's working. Why aren't we doing it? We should be doing it. We like money too. that's what's going to be happening. Very, very cool. So then it says the next step to mass adoption. Electroneum is one of the only cryptocurrencies being used worldwide to top up mobile phones. By expanding from South Africa to Brazil, Electroneum, there's a typo there, Electroneum has proven there is a need for the service on a global scale. Electroneum is the only crypto in the world that rewards their mobile app users with cryptocurrency that can be used for mobile airtime and data. Well, it could be used for other things too, like Quorra merch. No, but really, obviously the cloud miner can be used for many different things, not just mobile airtime and data. Thus demonstrating that adding value to the end user is a genuine way to help millions of people in developing regions to live better. Electroneum continues to expand and prove there is a real utility for cryptocurrency users. Their next step in their push for ETN cryptocurrency mass adoption is to broker new deals with more corporations, retailers, organizations, and governments. That's a big, that's wow. I like that. Corporations, let's reread that. Let's just let that sink in. Electroneum's next step in their push for ETN cryptocurrency mass adoption is to broker new deals with more corporations, retailers, organizations, and governments. That sounds very big. So this is definitely a good read. I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you want to read some of it, you could go and read it on your own. But, I just picked up on a couple of the bigger things here. But, it's definitely interesting. I wonder what that means. And obviously we could speculate. I don't want to speculate too much. But governments, I don't know. Do they mean literally for governments, for countries to say, yeah, this is a cryptocurrency that we're going to use as an option? Is it? I don't know. Is that what they mean? Or do they just mean like the governments are, working with the regulation aspect, saying, yeah, it is okay. We can let some of our businesses in our country accept the currency. They're two different kind of things. So that's interesting. Either way is good. So very, very interesting to see that. And corporations, retailers, organizations, all very good. That's a multi-level, small, medium, large size. So very, very cool stuff. And obviously that's stuff that we knew, but I don't think we knew about governments. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, they're definitely going for mass adoption. I don't see how they're not going to get it. I really don't. They're almost 100% covering Brazil, which is insane. A lot of people in Brazil. So it says these four networks combined provide service to around 220 million. 220 million of the 231 million mobile subscriptions in Brazil. So only 10 million people, let's say 11 million people, are not being, they're not, right now they're not, maybe in a week it's different, we don't know. But right now only 11 million people are kind of out of the loop, but 220 million people are, out of the 231, are able to go and use ETN to pay for their mobile phone bill. That's insane. So I expect the mobile, or the registration numbers to shoot up. I expect the cloud miner number to shoot up. The big thing is, how do we get, and that was one of the questions, let me read it. That's one of the questions right here. Will Electroneum be doing any advertising push to potential buyers of ETN, not just the unbanked? The unbanked are great, but they'll mainly be just signing up to CloudMine, earn more on GigFare, and then spend it locally. But how will ETN reach the banked and the potential buyers of ETN to go and get some without saying go buy ETN? Any plans for that? Good question. That's really the thing that's going to move the price. And I know they can't talk about the price, but Richard Ells did say that he's even a little bit disappointed with the price point right now. So they do have to do something. All of these users are fantastic. Let's say Electroneum has 200 million users. And let's say in 3 years there's 200 million users. But let's say 190 of those users are 190 million of those users are all unbanked. Well, they can't buy ETN. So how are they going to be contributing to that, the volume to raise the price? They really can't, because all of that money is going to be circulating. Yes, they could sell stuff on GigFair. Not all of them will, because not everybody has digital skills. But that ETN is just, if it's from a Westerner, they're just paying with cash and they're getting the ETN. So that's not contributing to the price. If they're spending locally, because it mentions like retailers, and it mentioned somewhere else in here. I don't remember where I said it, but oh yeah, it was towards the bottom, right here. Electroneum created an ETN ecosystem enabling thousands of their users to purchase everyday items such as milk, bread, and coffee, as well as pay for services including car washes, haircuts, and taxi rides. Well, that's a circulation of, but that's not going to increase volume on exchanges. So again, I'm not complaining. Fantastic. They're making a currency. Absolutely fantastic. Let's say they had 200 million users. Awesome. But what happens if only 10 million are people who are only sometimes, and that's 10 million, we're not even at 10 million right now. And in that scenario, I'm just saying 10 million users just buying. Hopefully it would be that, not less. Not only like 3 million, and it's like 197 million are unbanked. So at one point we do have to start getting us, regular people that aren't unbanked excited. Not that I'm not excited, but you know what I'm saying. People who are potential investors. We have to start doing something. Not we, they have to start doing something, because we can only do so much. Electroneum, really, they're the project. It's their product. They're the ones who have to do this kind of stuff. We can only help as much as we can. But they have to do something. And maybe it'll speak for itself. I don't know. But I think they do have to, that's why that's a good question. They do have to kind of do something to get people excited to understand it is going to be literally a true digital payment ecosystem, global ecosystem, where it's essentially a currency being used parallel to the fiat system every single day. That there's millions of transactions every single day happening, and millions of dollars in transactions every single week happening. That has to be conveyed, and that excitement has to be there. How they do it, I don't know. But I assume, trust the plan, right? I trust Richard Ellis. I trust the Electroneum team. I trust that they know what they're doing, and I think they do know what they're doing. But that's really all I have for you guys today. Maybe next week we'll maybe I'll look into some of these new carriers and see how I can do a little branching out. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. Could be a little fun. But again, if you have any questions to ask Electroneum, even about stuff that maybe we talked about today, ask in the comment section below, and I will post it. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys then. See ya.